everyone, need something to get you going in the morning or the afternoon? Check out trenchcoffeeco.com. Trench Coffee originated in Las Vegas and is owned by a combat controller and his wife. They've been making coffee as a hobby for a couple of years and then decided they enjoyed it so much and they wanted to share the coffee wealth with everyone else. So check them out. They've got 10 different brews. They originally started with the Trench blend, but they recently started a new blend that is kind of my personal favorite, which is the Brazil Cerrado. I'm probably saying that wrong again, like I do in every single promo, but whatever. I'm educated in South Carolina, so you can deal with it. They also sell, apparel. They sell cold brew kits. They've got holiday packages going on where you can get a mug and some coffee. Their normal bag sizes are 12 ounces. They do have some samplers, so if you wanted to get a handful of sampler packs, you could do that. And if you want to go all in, they definitely have 5-pound bags that'll keep you stocked for quite some time. But if you go through coffee like I do, because it's so good, 5 pounds probably won't last you too long. But please go check them out. They are definitely friends of the podcast and have been for quite some time. And so we want to support them and they're supporting us. So we don't get anything from it, but please go check them out. Enter the promo code One's Ready to get you a discount. And then I know that sometimes they also, every time you buy a bag of coffee and use our promo code, they will send a bag downrange or at least put some money to the side to pay for sending bags downrange. So great company, great people. Jeff and Jerica are amazing. So go support them, check them out. Trench Coffee Co. That's trenchcoffeeco.com.
I'm not good at intros to the podcast. Welcome back, everybody. We're here in the team room. It's Peaches and myself. We brought on some pilots for you today because you guys always ask us about pilots, and I found the 2 coolest pilots that we could possibly ever find. C-17s are so hot right now. The Instagram account do be popping. The guy is strong as shit. He does my favorite thing ever, which is he speaks only in kilograms when he talks about working out, which makes me have to do math. So he's like, hey, I hit a 200 kilogram squat. And I'm like, son of a 2.2 times 2. And then I get mad because I can't do that much. But welcome to the podcast, guys. I'll let you introduce yourself. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us. My name's Emily Barkemeyer, C-17 pilot, along with my husband. We've been doing it for 8 years now. Traveling the world, dropping stuff and dudes and having a good time.
And then I'm Jared Barkemeyer, same timeline as her. We were only like 1 pilot training class away, 3 weeks away, and then went straight to C-17s, and I certified the exact same timeline. We've been 8 years, 2 assignments, McCord and Hickam, and then have 2 babies along the way, and we're
snap.
Yeah, so in the middle of all that too. So.
Congrats.
And that's one of the reasons, yeah, congrats. That's one of the reasons we actually wanted to have you guys on, because you have such a unique story. The fact that you guys are married, you're often flying together, you're often, obviously stationed together and doing that stuff. And that is just the epitome of like making it work. Like I can barely figure out how to maintain a personal relationship in my own life. You can ask Peaches what a pain it is to be a friend with me. But we really wanted to dive into, not dive into your relationship. Like, surprise, we're going to dive into your relationship on this podcast. But we really wanted to talk to you about how that all works or how that all works. And, it's obviously awesome watching you guys on IG and your travels and stuff. But I'm going to take it all the way back to the beginning. So, I'll start with you, sir. Did you always know that you wanted to be a pilot?
I did actually, like in high school. The first time I rode Southwest Airlines out of a small plane in Albuquerque, New Mexico, like that feeling in your pit of your stomach when you take off, and it's like weightless feeling. I was like, man, that's kind of neat. Well, now I found out that's not really supposed to be common.
That's not supposed to happen.
You're not supposed to happen. But I was like, this is fun. Let's do this my dad was in the Navy for 4 years. He worked on aircraft carriers on the air wing, so he kind of had the aviation bug, and he's like, hey, you should. Oh, you want to be a pilot? He's like, there's this place that I don't have to pay for right up the road. I grew up in New Mexico and so Colorado Springs, and he's like, you should try to go in that to the academy. And I was like, okay, that sounds great. He's like, everybody out there is a pilot if they want to be. Oh, sounds great, Dad. I had no idea what I was getting into or anything like that. I wanted to go there to play sports and everything like that. So, just wanted to go play sports and then be a pilot afterwards. And then once I got there, I stayed for totally different reasons than when I initially went there. But didn't really look back after that, and didn't know what I wanted to fly in pilot training until I got there, and then talked to all the other users and all the MDS from the people that are the instructors, and then fell in love with C-17. It was kind of the new hotness. I'm a very like tech savvy prone guy. I was like, that's the newest plane that's not a fighter, and I was like, that's the one I want. So that's how I went.
Hey everybody, we had a little technical difficulty with our audio and our visual, but our editor managed to fix it, so we didn't really miss much. So hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Bye.
Yes. Spending your time on the plan, and then everyone's like, you get to the end, and they're like, oh, what if this happens? You're like, God bless it. All right, so contingencies or something we're solid at.
What if honey badgers are able to communicate and they can start forcing us to do things because of their communication? You're like, great, now my plan sucks because I didn't think about the honey badgers. We got to have this talk for 2 more hours. Just for everybody out there.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just going to let everybody know we had a little technical difficulties, but we're back. And now we're talking about contingency planning because the Barkemeyers, is that how you say your last name? Is it Barkemeyer?
Yeah.
Yep,
okay, the Barkemeyers are adept contingency planners. We had them on like it was the pilot that sucked me in, but now it's the planner that's going to keep me here. So I just want to give you the kudos because you guys absolutely crushed it.
Well, it is. Our career field does have, I mean, man, all the senior guys will, you brief a plan and then for how you're going to fly a sortie or something, and especially an airdrop. And then they're like, okay, well, that's a great plan, but what if this happens? And you're like, and then you just roll your eyes. But then sure enough, like one time it was like, what if the DZ catches fire? And we all joke, but I did an operation, training, and the DZ caught fire. And I was like, it was a culmination of my airdrop and instructor upgrade to become a lead airdropper, and everything went off perfect. Everyone was on time. All the tankers got airborne, and sure enough, the DZ caught fire, and the jumpers had to start dropping. So
fantastic. Okay, well, I can tell you as the canopy commander, when I look at a DZ and it's on fire, there's a good bad scale that I go by. That's bad. When I look down and the place that I'm supposed to land is in flames, that's bad. Man, we were talking earlier about, kind of the pipeline experience. How was your pipeline? What was the hardest part for you to get through when you were doing your pilot training?
This is going to sound super arrogant, but nobody ever told me that pilot training was hard. No one. Like, we talk to pilots all the time. No one ever was like, hey, just so you know, pilot training is a kick to the face. And it fucking was, man.
Fantastic. Maybe we're going about it the wrong way, Peaches. Maybe by telling people how hard the pipeline is, maybe we're scaring them. Maybe we should stop telling people that, and it'll be just like the man. She just breezed right through it because no one told her she was supposed to worry about it.
It's all those planted seeds in the brain about how terrible it's going to be.
Yeah. So that was the hardest part, was like caging myself and my brain to be like, oh, damn. Okay. Like throttle up. Most people come into training like full throttle, as they should. And me, no, I was like, I don't know what to expect. And so I did not start probably how I should have. But so it's 12-hour days every day, which, when you're learning something new and you're trying to have time to like process that information, commit it to memory, it was a lot. So you're learning something new. Like I said, I had never flown an airplane before. So, and some people have hands and some people don't, but that's only part of being a good pilot. So, it was a kick in the face. But after the first 6 months, you kind of settle into a groove and handle the rest of it.
You talk about the 12 hours, right? 12-hour days. It's a lot to handle. You don't necessarily have a lot of downtime to then go back and process everything that you're learning. It's a real interesting concept that we do that with nearly every single military, whether it's Air Force, Army, whatever, and any job. And that's part of that whole, as silly as it is and is essentially easy as the ASVAB is, like, we're looking for people that are able to train quickly, especially on the officer side of the house. It is definitely like you guys are just getting crammed with academics, crammed with, technical expertise, especially in the flying world. And you really, these are some long days. Okay, so 12 hours, right? 12 hours of academics, but you guys are doing so much more on the front end and on the back end, especially once you've already at a squadron. And even more so, you start talking about like the weapon school and stuff like that. But it's just, there's a lot on the front end, a lot of in the back end, and you guys are burning the candles like on both ends. It's crazy to me to watch. I mean, we do the same thing, but we really put a lot on pilots, I think.
You know, that's something I love about the Air Force. I hate it when I'm in the middle of it, but the fire hose effect is like, you either have the aptitude to do this or you don't. And I'm not going to waste time training you if you don't have the aptitude to handle it, which I respect the hell out of. It sucks while you're in the middle of it, but that's how we produce the best pilots.
Yeah, it really does. And that we always laugh at that when we try to talk to our listeners or to the people that are interested in coming in aft spec war. It's really, the devil is in those details. And it's funny, like how many times, you know, the four of us have kind of been like, oh, your career field is exactly like mine, or you guys have the same problems that we do, or wow, your training really isn't that much different. But it's hard to try to get, you know, a candidate or somebody that wants to be a pilot or somebody that wants to be a, you know, a combat controller or whatever. It's hard to explain those details that really get you like, okay, you've been training, you know, your entire, you know, 6 months to come do this job. Well, I'm going to make you work 12-hour days. It's going to be administratively intense. It's going to be academically intense. You're going to have to take on a ton of new information and then perform on a timeline that nobody else does. Oh, by the way, you still have to have a life afterwards. We expect you to be physically fit. Yeah. We expect you to get enough sleep. We expect you to, you know, show up on time with a good attitude and be like mentally well adjusted. You can't be toxic in the team room. That's when you put all those things together, that's when the problems really start to show. That's when you're really like, wow, this really is stressful. And it's funny to hear you two talk about it. You know, sir, you came in like fresh out of the academy, fresh out of 6 months of just beating up on cadets and teaching combatives, and you were throttled all the way up. And then, ma'am, it's funny to hear you were just completely living in the white, like, oh, check it out, pilot training. So how did you guys, when, like, I'll ask first, like, when did you guys realize, when did you look across the room and go, oh, hey, what's up? You're a pilot too, huh?
Well, I first noticed her at the academy on the track team my sophomore year. She ran by.
Is she faster than you? Just tell me right now. Does she outrun you still today?
Anything over maybe like 100 meters, she got some distance. She can
got him.
I got the quick burst. Wheels.
Yeah, you're good for a short sprint, but she's got you in anything with distance. I got it.
Yeah, I definitely was a thrower at the academy, not a runner. So short burst is what I was doing, and then saw her, and I was like, man, she's obviously very attractive, and then started talking to her. I was like, oh wow, she's like a certified, you know, badass, very confident. And obviously, I was drawn to that portion of her more than her looks, confidence, and all that stuff brought me in. So. And then we dated for most of the academy. We broke up a little bit towards about senior year. We broke up, and then we weren't together on casual status. And then we ended up going to the same pilot training base, which was really fortuitous because she was supposed to go to a different one. I was still in love with her, admittedly, but I was trying to get over.
This is the nicest podcast we've ever put out. Listen, even if nobody listens to it, I'm just glad to be part of this journey.
It is kind of a sappy story too, but so she was supposed to go to Pensacola and then Pensacola Navy training there, and it closed down, and I was going to Oklahoma. And then I remember the day I found out we were both casual and she was going to Oklahoma too, and I was mad happy. I was like, no, but then I was like, yes, she's coming back to where I'm at. And then through the initial pilot training, we kind of rekindled the flame at the beginning, and then shared suffering will always bring people together. And then it brought us together in that respect, and then never looked back since, really. So, when I knew it was sophomore year.
And you guys have followed each other for, you know, since then. Like, you left pilot training, and now you're at the same squadron together, and now you're even on a trip. We'll just say a trip. I won't call it a deployment, but a trip together.
Well,
we've been really fortunate.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the part that I wanted to talk about there is like all the way through your pipeline, like you had that built-in support system where you could, no kidding, come home and just be like, I've had it with this instructor, or how are you feeling about this event? Did you feel like that had to be a huge help, right?
Absolutely. It was a huge help because even 3 weeks ahead of in a pipeline or in the training is an eternity because I was 3 weeks ahead of her. So I would always be like, feeding secrets back. But at the same time, when I'm feeding secrets back on, on these things, whenever you guys know this, when you instruct, you actually learn the information a lot more. The Air Force is unique in that way where we make people instructors way too early than they should be. But when you're instructing someone or teaching, you learn the stuff so much more better. So while she was learning from me and still teaching me at the same time, I was obviously getting better by going through the curriculum a second time, or if she asked that. But I mean, it was back and forth because even 3 weeks, she was still teaching me tons of things.
Yeah, and that's not even exclusive to pilot training. We still constantly, I'm like, hey, what would you do in this situation? Like, this is my decision-making process. Like, what do you think? Like, we're constantly making each other better. And it's a huge, I think it's what makes us so successful.
Oh, 100%.
Sharpening iron, huh? All right.
way to put that one in there. Are there any other sheepdog quotes that we want to put into this?
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see how many I can put in there.
That's fantastic. We get the question a lot when somebody's like, I'm with a spouse and I want to do this thing. For us, obviously, it's AFSPEC war, but we've gotten the same question for pilots and in the military in general. And you guys are making it work. You guys are able to support each other and follow along. What has been some problems that you guys have had that really put stresses on your relationship?
It was all fun and games until we had kids, and that is just a super added layer of complications and scheduling deconfliction and stuff like that. Because we both love our jobs and love flying around the world and like executing the mission, but obviously that takes a back seat to family at home. So I think the hardest has been just like schedule deconfliction, or like I'll go on the road for 2 weeks, I'll come home and slap hands with Jared and he's like, all right, I'm out. So sometimes we don't see as much of each other as we would like, but we very fortunately have incredible family and in-laws that support us, and they'll come out and watch the kids so we can do things like we're doing right now. And so we have that added flexibility.
Our relationship was built into this. So, I mean, we grew together. Our relationship's grown through the Air Force. It's not like we were together and then, had to go figure out this thing and go on trips. We grew together. This first time we were going on trips was when we were married already. So we didn't, and then it's not, when the other person understands what you're doing on the road, it's so much easier as opposed to a lot of the times people think you're just like, oh, you're just having TDY, you're having a good time, you're out with the boys. But I know, like, yeah, you're letting off steam because you're working, 24-hour days, and then you finally got a good deal. So take it, like go have some fun, let your steam off. You got to let those releases go, or they'll pick up, and we're not robots. So
yeah, you 100%. You have that mutual understanding and that mutual support from somebody who has gone and is going exactly through the same thing you are. That's fundamentally healthy, if you will.
I like it. We're, this
like
is
that?
a really good one. I do. Yeah.
This is a wholesome podcast right here.
This is just wholesome AF. This is my favorite podcast I think that we've ever done. So when you guys, pilot training complete, you guys obviously you're married the entire time, and that's a funny dynamic too, because even as you were talking through it, that's so opposite to what we all do. You get in the pipeline as a younger, dude, or, at this point, dudette. And sometimes, you're married. When I went through the second time, I was, married and had kids and the whole deal. But the first time I went through, like, it really is like you're figuring who am I as a person out, and then you're figuring what is this job all about, and then hopefully you meet somebody, and then you kind of bring them into that world. Well, you guys were there. To quote Bain, you were born in it. You were molded by the military, kind of structure, and your relationship kind of grew out of that. That's kind of cool. Like when you guys got out of training and you finally got to your first base, what was there had to be the first flight, right? Like the first time that you guys were allowed to fly together. And I've seen the stories you guys are talking about. You guys fly together pretty often, right?
Yeah, fly formation together. So we can't fly the same plane together. We take simulator check rides together usually. But I vividly remember the first formation we flew together. I was flying back from Pope, and he was flying a local that day, and we did a rejoin over Idaho, I think, and went and did some AR, some air refueling, and I think we might have done some airdrop too.
Yep.
And then I went home, and he like continued on with his training. So, but I remember, I'll never forget it. It was like a core memory, you know, like this is awesome.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
It had to be so cool. Sir, was she critiquing your AR? Did you hear on the radio? You're like, hey, you're like five left, and can you put your flaps to actually 40% because they're not?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's interesting hearing her. I mean, I remember the first call because we on HF radios, the longer range radios, you hear her, and she's just we're co-pilot drops at the time, but she was with an instructor, so he was letting her fly, you know, as the commander, if you will, and hear her on the radio, and you know, you just get that little wholesome heart feeling. You're like, that's my girl, you know. But yeah, rejoining, and then but we do jests and stuff. You know, you can hear when someone's on the radio doing AR, and how you can tell how it's going on the common frequency. But she was jacking it on it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, don't think I didn't.
Fussed at him once.
He fussed at me, yeah.
On the radio, and he flew me through a thunderstorm, and I was like, "Don't ever do that to me again."
How dare you? How dare you? We are going to talk about. I would love to be on that radio because it's literally like mom got mad at dad. Like everybody on the back end of that entire aircraft is like, "Ooh, they're gonna have to have a talk when they land."
Now, are you guys not flying together? Is that something written into the reg, or is that something that you guys just have established?
Yeah, it's in the rig.
Really?
Very fine print, but yeah. So you can't. So I could operate with him as a passenger, but we cannot be on the same crew orders together.
Interesting. It's that your situation comes up enough that they have to put it into a regulation. I mean,
same thing with brothers. So like if you're like brothers, we have some friends that are brothers, and they're not allowed to be on the same orders. Kind of, I think it's like, honestly, I think it's rooted in like Saving Private Ryan rules.
Yeah.
They just kind of kept that mentality. But it is unique that like we can fly formation together. There's something that says that. I'm sure if they like looked at the rules, be like, maybe we shouldn't allow this either. So we're already seeing there. But we've had a great time flying formation together, and it's amazing. I'm very fortunate to do that. Every time it's special.
Yeah, no, it's because we have a handful of PJs and controllers that are brothers. Some of them were twins, and they would be deployed at the same time. They were just at a different fob. So I mean, I guess that still meets the intent, but it was interesting. And Emily, I did catch the Inside Out reference to core members. I got that. It didn't go unnoticed. I got it.
That's how you could tell. That's how you could tell parents right there. You could tell exactly how old the kids are is by what movie they want to watch on repeat. If y'all want to, I watched Encanto last night. If you guys want to break into song at any point of this, you let me know.
No, because we don't talk about Bruno. All right?
We don't talk about Bruno. We absolutely do not talk about Bruno.
Oh yeah,
This is quite possibly the most wholesome podcast.
Are both of you up at McCord, or I mean, obviously not right now. You're not, but
yeah, we're at Hickam. So we've been in Hickam for 3.5 years, and they don't. So when we were young, we were in the same squadron, but ever since we PCS'd out to Hickam, we've never been in the same squadron. So they try to keep us under different raiders. But that's really the only thing that they take into account.
So real talk, how much of a pain in the ass are jumpers on the back of the bird? Like, are we real divas, or are
absolutely
we,
not.
like have fun to have on board?
You guys are a breath of fresh air. Like, it's always fun, and that's another reason we kind of chose C-17 is because we've heard about the joint aspect of everything, and we travel the world, but then once you're like, I'm kind of in that position where I'm kind of burnt out traveling the world. And right now we're just doing a lot of training, which is good. And so going and working with the users is my favorite thing right now. International joint is just, I love that. I love briefing you guys. I think some of my briefs even are, the jumpers are pretty like wow, this guy's really, really happy to be doing this. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'll sling you guys wherever you want to be, you know, wherever you want to drop, whatever altitude. It doesn't matter to me. You guys are not divas in the least, or at least the users I've worked with, primarily.
Okay, I was going to say,
a lot of Army.
You ain't jumping with Aaron yet.
yeah, you wait, my guy. I'm gonna take that happiness right out of that brief for you, sir. I'm gonna be double checking computers. I'm not gonna be trusting GPSs. I got a bunch of weird hand signals that I would like to introduce you to. It's pretty much, it's really, really a good time. So, ma'am, what's your favorite part of the entire mission then? If the hubbies is doing airdrops and precision airdrops, especially with jumpers and users in the back, what's your favorite part?
I mean, I hate that we're so similar because it's like, God, do you have your own personality? But
sure.
Airdrop is the most fun, and I think I get satisfaction out of it for different reasons, but it's really challenging to be like a perfect airdropper. Like I've never had a perfect airdrop flight. And so I like the challenge. I like the challenge of working together. When we're airdropping, there's so much going on upstairs. Like I don't have time to double check everything that my co-pilot is doing. So like, I truly have to trust that person, and I truly have to instruct them well enough that they're not going to drop you guys off easy, because they're the one sending you out. I'm the one flying us where we're supposed to go. So that's what I really enjoy about it. And I do like meeting people and, trying to understand, the different lenses that the different entities we work with view the mission or the operation through, and try to just be better so that we give you the best product that we can. So that's what I like about it.
I got news for you. Every airdrop for us isn't perfect either.
Yeah. News. Yeah.
It can get a little sporty under canopy, whether it's static line or free fall. Like no jump is perfect for us either. So I wouldn't worry about it. I did want to ask, being, a combat controller and stuff like that, like, what is it like for you guys to land on a dirt strip, especially one that is, that you guys are going to have to get on the brakes quite a bit?
It happens so fast, and it's usually, at night under nogs, right? So you don't see a whole lot. You just have to trust that what you're looking at in front of you is where you're supposed to be, and execute. And obviously it gets real dusty. I've never landed on a LZ during the day. So and I've never done a training one either. It's all been operational. So yeah, it's fast, and you're like, oh, thank God, we made it. All right, let's get out of here.
I always loved it because as the guy in the back, I'm saying the same thing. It's good to know that the people in the cockpit and the people in the back are all saying the same. Oh God, okay, we made it.
Okay,
all right, can we get out of here? I'm terrified. My heart rate's at 195 just talking about it.
Well, I mean, there's some sporty LZs out there. I mean, you got. So even under MVGs I'm not telling you guys this because you already know this, but for the listeners out there, I mean, depending on the construct of the soil, the loom that's out there, the type of lighting and stuff like that, like it can, just because you're under MVGs, you can still have some depth perception issues. Whereas you don't know, like you're trusting your instincts, you're trusting your instruments, you're trusting your crew members, and you're coming in, and it is one of those things of both. I can only imagine for you guys, because we're in the back, maybe we're up on the ICS listening, maybe not, and it's just, you guys are just sending it. You're sending it. I mean, it's pretty cool to see.
I stopped listening. I started pulling that little pin on my communicator box. I don't even want to know. Like about 10 years ago, I was just like, you know what? If this thing burns in, I don't want to hear the discussion that leads up to it. Like, you just let me know. Like, just turn some bells on for me in the back and let me know what's going to happen. But I don't want to be involved in the conversation leading to my death. So now that we're all talking about our untimely deaths, like flying is dangerous. You guys do an impossible task, right? Like humans are not supposed to fly. We figured out a way to do it, and now you're the purveyors of that flight, right? But nothing goes perfectly. So do you guys have something that sticks out in your mind, maybe an IFE or maybe one of those landings that you're like, holy crap, that was close?
Yeah, there's a few. If you have one, you could, on the top, I'll put you on the spot, but if not, I can go.
Recently I went to Diego Garcia, and I don't know if you've ever been in there, but it's just a tiny little island out in the middle of the ocean that's constantly surrounded by thunderstorms. And we were coming in the middle of the night. Crosswinds were at 30 knots, which is our limit. And there was a storm on one end of the field, like quickly coming to the approach end of the runway. And when you go to remote destinations like that, they don't have to give you an alternate airfield. They can just give you fuel to hold in lieu of an alternate. And this storm on the weather
sound
was
safe
supposed
at all, ma'am. That doesn't. This is the best that we've come up with. That's our answer for this. It's just, here's
Throw
some
some
more
on for the
fuel.
kids.
This doesn't. Just doesn't make. Okay, you know
One of
what?
those
This story
feelings
sounds
where
like.
you're oh shit, man. And sure enough, this storm was supposed to stay over the field for like 6 hours. So like we had one chance to get in here, or we were going to be in a tough situation. And so we put it down, and it wasn't pretty, but it was safe, and we landed, and I think we all breathed, had a sigh of
I think
relief
it's
at the
breathed.
end. We were just like, oh, thank God. Yeah, that's.
But extremely
Ocean
capable
is-
platform, extremely capable pilots too. Like, I mean, that's what you guys trains for. Those kind of, the landing on McCord or Hickam or wherever, like that's fine. But it's those times where it's thunderstorms, it's crosswinds, it's combat zones. Like that's why you guys are trained the way you are.
Yeah, my story is I have the thunderstorm stories for days too, because those are always like weather gets a boat and the enemy gets a boat. You guys probably got those in your cool briefings.
Yep.
Cool guys pointing and stuff.
Super cool. Yeah, we have a whole book. It's written by Peaches. It's just catchphrases. It's like the only easy day. You start it off and you say, "Hey guys, I'm your combat controller for the day. The only easy day was yesterday." Slide.
He's got a tattoo on his bicep.
That's right, brother.
Oh, I'm laughing so hard because here's my bicep tattoo. Anyway, all right, continue.
Like that. Okay,
Continue.
So the training that we get is for those moments where, and then it's just they do train us and spend lots of money training us because there's situations you can't prepare for, right? And that's another cliche, but absolutely, I was landing at one of those dirt fields that I've been to a couple times downrange in NVGs, and I was taking a younger guy there to get them signed off on it, and I'm very excited because I mean, you get amped for these things, right? You check in, or you hear the secure comm click with some cool guy named Tombstone or Night Raider, and they're clearing you to land, and you're like, all right, we're here, baby, in the dark of night. This is what I trained for, and then we're doing a high tactical descent. Everything's going according to plan, and then you get the jet's like, nope, I don't want to do this, and they have a malfunction through flight controls or something, and then you have to make a split decision. Where is this something I need to land here? Do I gotta find the safest way to egress out of here? And it's really hard to when your fang's out to pull back and be like, you know what, we can live to fight another day. Let's get. I'm not going to put this plane in an unsafe position just to land here. I mean, possibly be stuck here, and then I got to think about in a split second, I got to think about the second and third order effects of this plane's going to be here maybe now, stuck and broken, and people are going to have to, and now it's a huge target. I'm a liability here. So this stuff can wait till tomorrow, hopefully. Let's just take this bird back out and then not land and get out of here. So that was probably the toughest one when I was landing. And I was fangs out, and I had to pull back and say, not today. Let's not risk it tonight. Let's go back.
And that's tough. And not just for you guys, but for us on the ground. Like, if you guys are doing a resupply drop and we've been out there for a week and we only have, we're black on ammo and we're, hurting on food and water, and that's frustrating for us. But at the same time, we have a very, very fangs out, just like you guys. And sometimes it can be more difficult to recognize it, throttle back and go hey, listen, here is everything that could happen if things go wrong on this. Let's pause for 12 hours, or let's do, maybe it's as easy as a go around, okay, whatever. But sometimes you got to be able to recognize that. And again, that's what we pay you guys for. So one of my questions I want to ask, because I know, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but it's one of those things that for us, whether it's doing live fire shooting, whether it's doing close air support and routing, safety of flight and jumping and stuff like that, complacency kills for us. like if I'm not getting nervous on a 25,000 hey ho jump, jumping out into the night, like it's time for me to move on and do something else. If I'm not getting a little bit, like amped for that. Is it same for you guys? Complacency kills. You're out there doing local pattern work, and then, shit can go wrong.
Absolutely. Especially in formation or airdrop. Like if you're flying along and you're not doing something, you're wrong. Like you don't have enough time. Like you should be doing something constantly. So if you're sitting there and you're like, I have like 2 minutes to myself. No, you missed something. So
no, you don't. That's somebody else's time.
Yeah. Like the hair on the back of your neck stands up and you're like, oh shit, I don't know what it is. But, and you go back to your habit patterns and stuff. So complacency definitely kills. But especially in Hawaii, it's difficult because we don't have a great training environment out there. The Hawaiian Islands are not the best place to train in. And so it can be really easy to just be aloha and kind of chill and pull back. And that AOR is probably not the best mindset. So we see it every day. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard to explain, but it's easy to see it in somebody else. Right. So it's a hard thing to explain, but that tactical momentum, that's sitting there for a minute and you're literally not doing anything. And then you start to get worried. You're like, wait a second, why don't I have anything to do? This is not an okay feeling to me. Exactly. You're just like, oh no, this is not good. We use, in the pipeline with our students, we call it tactical momentum. When you feel that tactical momentum slipping away from you, when you feel like you're not in control of the scenario, that's a very distinct feeling. And it's funny to hear you explain it because we, Peaches and I, our heads were going north south the entire time because we're like, oh yeah, we totally knows, what that feels like. But so we got through JBLM. So you guys are missing the summer here right now. It's starting to be very, very beautiful, by the way. It's the only time of year here that it's nice is from really like April to September, and now down at Hickam. But what's next for you both? Where are you guys going?
We're going to the schoolhouse, so we're going to go teach at Altus America. So to get the next generation, right? So we're fortunate to have 2 operational assignments to McCord first, and then Hickam, and then now we're going to get to share that knowledge with the next generation. Airdropping ratios in the C-17 are about 10%, 10 to 15, I want to say, percent. So if you're an evaluator, airdropper, an instructor, airdropper, the pool is small, so you're going to have to go back to Altus. Is usually what happens. It's hard to. We tried some different ripcords and none of them deployed. So we got Altus as our next assignment. Right. But now that we've bought into that, we're super excited because obviously you kind of found some of the stuff from social media. But the next thing I'm most passionate about is like trying to get the next people to do what we do because I didn't know what I was getting into. And if I would have known, I absolutely would have done it again. But now I'm trying to spread that story and get these people like, look, this is an amazing thing that we do. No matter what your career field is, you're going to meet the best people in the world. So we're going to Altus, and I'm excited about it. I know she's excited too. I won't speak for her too much, but the restaurant scene is a little lacking. We're a little bougie sometimes. So that's like the biggest heartache there. So,
girl, listen, same. Like I always make a joke, like the running joke with me and my friends is if you find me dead competing in some sort of like off-duty extreme sport, like Aaron died wingsuit flying. No, he did not. You know what Aaron likes? Aaron likes 3-star Michelin restaurants. He likes new food spots, and he likes to go out. Like I do jujitsu. Is the only thing that is even close to anything that I do at work, and everything else involves me like looking for the best reviews of a taqueria on Yelp. Thank you very much. So I feel you. Well, sir, I definitely love like exactly what you just said, right? That new generation. So give me your elevator pitch. And this is why we wanted to have you on, right? We want to start bringing in kind of all of these tribes that are really passionate about their career field. So sir, ma'am, give me your 30-second elevator pitch for that candidate, for that person that doesn't know what they want to do. They want to do something bigger. They're not really that sure. How do you make them into C-17 pilots?
Oh boy.
I don't know if it's 30 seconds. I'll try.
You know what? No time limit. It's all you.
always say, like, if you're on the fence about joining, and I get so many comments on social media, like, is it hard? I'm like, yeah, it is. But it's okay. That's the second thing. Yes, it's difficult, but that's okay. And anything worth, worth doing, obviously, is. It's tough, but that's totally okay, and it's more rewarding because of it. So if you're on the fence of thinking about joining for whatever you want to do, special, flying, whatever it is, just do it. And then if you sign up for a wrong reason, you're going to find out pretty quick, and that's okay too, because you might find a reason to stay. That was me. Like, I went to the academy. Obviously, I wanted to be a pilot, but when I got there, I kicked in the teeth a little bit, and then went into sports more so. And I was like, I'll just do this, and then met the people. And that was the biggest thing. I was like, man, I'm going to stay, because these are the greatest humans I've ever been around, and I really enjoy working with them, and that's why I picked a crew aircraft. It's like, if you're on the fence about joining, just do it, and research as much as you can. And now, modern days, we have a lot more information at our fingertips, literally. So ask questions, ask me, ask those people that you can find on social media, and then hopefully most of them are really, they'll tell you the truth. You know what you're getting into.
Yep.
What about you, man? What do you got? What would you say to those prospective C-17 pilots out there?
I would say there's something for everyone. Things that I love: traveling the world, trying different food, meeting new people, experiencing different cultures, being challenged physically and mentally in my job. And I get those nearly every day in my job. Like, it's incredible. Every day that I go on a mission is a new adventure. I will be faced with new challenges. I will be faced with new rewards. I will have a good time no matter what. I love the people I work with. I obviously love the airplane that I fly. Like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but going through the shit to get to it is worth it.
Outstanding. And that feels like a great place to end. Thanks for coming on, guys. We really appreciate it. You can find them on Instagram at HE Pilots, or you can find Fly with Emily. So go follow them both, and then follow their adventures throughout the world. I personally like it. I saw our home drop zone the other day, and I was very excited about it. I even sent you a message. I was like, oh, look at Crate Farmer right out back of the 2-2. There we go, baby. We really appreciate you having the time to come on here and spreading the love about the C-17 career field. It's awesome. I don't think it gets enough love. You guys are professionals through and through. I've always loved working with you, and we get to work a lot with the C-17s out here at JBLM. So again, thanks for coming on. Thanks for making time. Everybody else out there, follow us over at onesready.com or on the Instagram. Come say hi to us on the personal pages. Make sure to follow the sir and the ma'am for more awesome C-17 content. Thanks for you guys coming out. We're done here. Have a great one. Train hard.
Later.
Thanks for having us.